Here we are working on DMA 30, and we are working on sections 9 and 10. Section 9, we're looking at percents, decimals, and fractions. That's what we're going to be working with, percents, decimals, fractions, and how to convert from one of those units to another. Okay? So here we go. Write the percent as a decimal. Think of the word percent. Per means we're going to be dividing by how many cents or pennies are in a dollar would be 100. So what we're going to do is 78 divided by 100. So use your calculator. 78 divided by 100 gives us 0.78. And we have converted our percent to a decimal, dividing by 100. Here we have 32%, and they ask us to write the percent as a fraction or a mixed number in simplest form. So again, we have 32. We're going to divide that by 100. So as we're using our calculator and we do 32 divided by 100, it gives us a decimal answer, a 0.32. To reduce that fraction to lowest terms, you can press the keystrokes math and enter twice, and it will reduce it to 8/25. Another way to look at that is both of these numbers are divisible by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. 100 divided by 4 is 25. And again, we get the same answer, 8/25. Write the decimal as a percent. So when we have this decimal, 0.003, it's just a decimal, and as we want to write it as a percent, instead of dividing, what's the opposite? Multiply. We're going to take 0.003, multiply it by 100, and that's going to give us our percent. So 0.003 times 100, and we have a 0.3%. Pretty easy. Write the fraction as a percent, round to the nearest 100th percent. So when we are given first 3/11, we want to write the fraction as a percent. So we're first going to do the division. 3 divided by 11, and that gives us 0.272727 repeating. 0.2727, and that repeats. Leave that number as it is. When we go from a decimal to a percent, we multiply by 100. So again, on the calculator, we have our repeating decimal. We're now going to multiply by 100. So 27.2727, 27.2727%. We need to pay close attention to, it says round to the nearest 100th. Tenths, hundredths. The 2 in this place determines if that rounds up or stays the same. So this would be 27.27%. Write the mixed number as a percent. So here we have 3 1/5. And if we want to write that as a percent, the first thing is we're going to make it a decimal. So using our calculator, we have the whole number 3 plus 1/5. That gives us 3.2. That gives us 3.2. Now we're going to multiply that times 100 times 100, and that gives us 320. So we end up with 320%. When you get to working on your test, you will be given a problem that will be much in this form where you're given a chart. So first I have 5 divided by 8. I'm going to change that to a decimal and then the decimal to the percent. So I'm going to do this on the calculator and do 5 divided by 8. So here, 5 divided by 8 gives me a decimal of 0.625. 0.625. And then to convert to a percent, I'm going to multiply by 100. So here, So here I'm now going to times by 100, and that gives me 62.5. So I get 62.5%. Let me switch to another color. For this one, they give me 0.6. So if I'm going from here to here, I'm going to multiply by 100. So my 0.6, if I multiply by 100, that gives me 60%. 60%. If I'm going to go in the other direction, from the decimal to a fraction, remember the keystrokes. We can press math and enter twice. So my 0.6, press math, enter 2 times, and my fraction is 3/5. So 3/5. And the last one, we started with the percent. And if we're going from percent to decimal, going in the other direction, we're going to divide by 100. So if I start with 35 and I divide by 100, take my percent divided by the 100, my decimal is a 0.35. So here I have 0.35. And then I'm still going to use those same keystrokes, math, and enter 2 times, and it's going to make it into the fraction 7/20. 7/20. Now, as we continue and we move into section 10, in section 10, we're going to be given some statements such as what is 25% of 700, or 13 is 6.5% of what number. When we are working in this section, always remember that your percent is written over the 100. And in our statements that we have, we're going to use the keywords is and of to know where we plug in our values. So the format, when you sort of draw this out, is you would initially start by putting the 100 on the bottom. You're going to plug in the number of the percent here, and then look at the keywords is and of. The number, the variable, we'll just put the letter X in place of that. Now, the first 3 questions on the computer work specifically want equations. Since they specifically want an equation, I'm going to write this out in the form of an equation. In the form of an equation, the word of, we're going to use multiplication. And when you see the word is, we're going to use an equal sign. And where they have just number, we're going to use the letter X. So here we see 93% of 79 is what number? So what we're going to write for our answer is the 93%. We would write that as a decimal as a 0.93 of 79 is what number? So when they specifically want a problem such as this written, percent you're going to write as a decimal. Let me include that note up here too. So the 0.93 times 79 equals X. For this one, it says 80% of what number is 18. So the percent is 0.80. Of means multiply. What number is the letter X? Let me make note here. Multiply the one here is the letter X is 18. It's just when you're typing it in and you're using the keypad, make sure this is the marker that's used for the multiplication sign to multiply, and that is represented with the letter X. Let's do one more such as that. For this one, again, they want the equation. And for this equation, we have 4.2 as a decimal. That's our equals. 80% is a 0.80 of what number? That's the of multiplication sign. That's the letter X. So this is the sign to multiply, and this is the letter, the variable X. Okay. So now let's apply what I showed you a moment ago. What I showed you earlier is that you're going to do 100 on the bottom, the percent goes here, and then the is and the of. So so what number is, we don't know the is. 28%, the percent goes above the 100, do not change it to a decimal, leave the numeral 28. Of 69, the of goes on the bottom. When you have it set up this way, you're now going to use your calculator. On your calculator, the two numbers that are diagonal from each other, you're going to multiply, and then you're going to divide by the number paired with the unknown. So we're going to do 28 times 69 divided by 100. 28 times 69 divided by 100. You can type it all in at one time. Our answer is 19.32. 19.32. That is our solution. Type an integer or a decimal. It doesn't tell us where we need to round, so we're good. Here's another one. Again, we are going to draw the line, put the 100 on the bottom, percent goes here, and then we're going to look for the is and the of. 291.75 is. That goes on the top. 291.75 is 97.25%. Percent's going to go here. So we have 97. Personally, I know that 1/4 is a 0.25, and it's fine to type in the 0.25 instead of writing the 1/4. Either way is fine. Of what number? The of is in the bottom that we do not know what that is. So here we are going to cross multiply the two that are diagonal, and then we're going to divide by the one paired with the unknown. So let's come here, and we're going to do 100 times 291.75 divided by 97.25. And that gives us a whole number, 300. So our solution here is going to be 300. And there you have it, sections 9 and 10.